What would you do if your ex's new wife tried to legally steal your child? Not kidnap. Legally steal them through the court system. Because that's exactly what Mavis tried to do to me. She filed not one but 2 lawsuits trying to take my son. The judge's final words to her still echo in that courtroom. Ma'am, you have no rights to this child. This is the story of how a widow tried to sue for custody of my living son, and how I made sure she'd never forget her failure. Every parent's worst nightmare isn't just losing their child, it's someone using the legal system to try to take them. This isn't about kidnapping in the dark. This is about someone walking into a courthouse, filing papers, and trying to legally erase you as a parent. What you're about to learn could save you from the same nightmare. You'll discover how non-parents try to weaponize the court system, why emotional bonds don't create legal rights, and the exact legal precedents that protect biological parents. You'll understand what judges actually consider in these cases, and how to document everything when someone threatens your custody. This story isn't just drama, it's a legal blueprint wrapped in a real-life thriller. By the end, you'll understand exactly why Mavis lost, why I won, and why 97% of viewers agreed my final revenge was completely justified. Let me paint you a picture of how normal everything started. My ex and I had been divorced for 3 years. We had a system that worked every other weekend, alternating holidays, shared school events. Our son, let's call him Tyler, was 7 years old and thriving. The divorce had been hard, but we'd found our rhythm. Co-parenting wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. Then came Mavis. My ex met her at a work conference in Denver. Within 2 weeks, she'd relocated to our city. Within 2 months, she was meeting Tyler. Within 8 months, they were married. 8 months. That's less time than it takes to have a baby. Less time than most people take to plan a wedding. But Mavis was on a mission, and looking back now, I understand exactly what that mission was. The first red flag came during Tyler's 3rd visit after the wedding. He came home confused and upset. "Mom," he said, sitting at our kitchen table, picking at his sandwich. "Mavis says I should call her Mom too. She says I'm lucky because now I have 2 moms." I felt my stomach drop. "What did you say to her, sweetheart?" "I told her I already have a mom, but she got really sad and Dad said I hurt her feelings." That was the beginning, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about Mavis, or at least what I learned about her through court documents and depositions. Mavis was 43 years old, never married before my ex. No children of her own. She tried for years, spent thousands on fertility treatments, went through 4 rounds of IVF. All failed. Her therapist would later testify that she'd been dealing with severe grief over her inability to conceive for over a decade. My ex was her first serious relationship in 5 years. And Tyler? Tyler became her obsession disguised as love. The text messages started 2 weeks after the 2 moms incident. My ex would send these long paragraphs about how Mavis was struggling to bond with Tyler, how she just wanted to be accepted as his mother, how I needed to support their new family dynamic. I saved every single one. Thank God I saved every single one. "She's not his mother," I texted back. "She's his father's wife. There's a difference." "You're being petty," he replied. "She loves him. Loving someone doesn't make you their parent." That text, that simple statement, would later become a cornerstone of my legal defense. But at the time, it just made my ex angry. He started keeping Tyler an extra hour on Sundays, claiming traffic. He'd forget to pack Tyler's favorite stuffed animal so Mavis could buy him a better one. Small things. Insidious things. Things that family court calls alienation tactics, but that you can't quite prove until it's too late. Then came the school play incident. Tyler had gotten the lead role in his 2nd grade production of The 3 Little Pigs. He was the wolf. very proud of his howling. The school gave each child 2 tickets for parents. Tyler gave them both to me, as he always did. His dad could buy his own ticket for the general admission section. That was our arrangement. That had always been our arrangement. But when I arrived at the school that night, Mavis was sitting in my seat. My seat. The one with Tyler's name on it, marked Parent 1. She looked up at me with this smile. I'll never forget that smile, and said, "Oh, I thought since I'm his mom now, I should sit in the parent section." Security had to get involved. The principal had to come out. Tyler saw the whole thing from backstage and started crying. He missed his entrance cue. The wolf never showed up to blow down the first little pig's house because he was in the bathroom with the teacher, sobbing and asking why everyone was fighting. I documented everything. The incident report from the school, the emails from Tyler's teacher expressing concern, the recommendation for family counseling. My lawyer, yes, I already had a lawyer by this point, told me to keep building the paper trail. "You're going to need it," she said. She had no idea how right she was. 6 months after the school play incident, my phone rang at 2 a.m. It was the hospital. There had been an accident. A drunk driver ran a red light and T-boned my ex's car. He was driving home from a work dinner. He didn't make it. I'm not going to pretend I loved my ex anymore, but he was Tyler's father. And watching my 8-year-old son collapse when I told him, that's a kind of pain I wouldn't wish on anyone. We went to the hospital together. Tyler needed to say goodbye. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a parent. Mavis was there, of course. She was his wife. She had every right to be there. But what happened next? That's when I knew we were heading for war. While Tyler was saying goodbye to his father, holding his hand and sobbing, Mavis pulled me aside. Her eyes were red, her face puffy from crying, but her voice was steady, cold even. "I want Tyler to live with me," she said. I actually laughed. It was inappropriate, but it was so absurd I couldn't help it. "What? I'm his mother too. He needs stability. He needs to stay in his father's home. Mavis, you've known him for 14 months. I'm his stepmother. I have rights." "No," I said, very clearly, very calmly, while my son was saying goodbye to his father 10 feet away. "You don't." She filed the first lawsuit 3 days after the funeral. Let that sink in. 3 days. My son hadn't even gone back to school yet. We hadn't even received the death certificate. But Mavis had already hired an attorney and filed for emergency custody. The funeral itself was a nightmare. Mavis had arranged everything without consulting me, which was her right as his wife. But she also created a memorial board titled Our Perfect Family, with dozens of photos of her, my ex, and Tyler. Many I'd never seen before, photos from the few months Tyler had spent at their house. In every single one, she had her arms around Tyler possessively, like she was claiming him. During the service, she introduced herself as Tyler's mother to everyone. When Tyler heard this, he looked at me from across the room with panic in his eyes. I mouthed, "It's okay," to him, but it wasn't okay. Nothing about this was okay. The worst part came during the reception. Mavis cornered Tyler near the refreshment table, and I heard her say, "Now that Daddy's in heaven, I'm going to take care of you. You'll come live with me full time. Won't that be nice?" Tyler ran to me, buried his face in my stomach, and wouldn't let go for 20 minutes. People stared. Mavis stared. And I knew this was going to get worse before it got better. 2 weeks after the funeral, I was at work when my phone exploded. 7 missed calls from Tyler's daycare, 3 from an unknown number that turned out to be the police. "Ms. Patterson," the daycare director's voice was shaky. "We need you to come immediately. There's been an incident." I drove there in 12 minutes. Should have taken 25. I don't remember a single red light. When I arrived, there were 2 police cars in the parking lot. Inside, I found Tyler in the director's office with a female officer, coloring quietly but with tears dried on his cheeks. Mavis was in the lobby. talking animatedly to another officer. Here's what happened according to the police report I later obtained. At 2:47 p.m., Mavis arrived at the daycare. She told the front desk she was there to pick up Tyler Patterson for a family emergency. When asked for ID and to verify she was on the authorized list, she said, "I'm his mother. Surely you recognize me." The receptionist, following protocol, said she needed to check the authorized list. Mavis wasn't on it. She had never been on it. My ex had been on it, but I'd had him removed the day after his death, leaving only me and my mother as authorized pickups. That's when Mavis escalated. "I'm his mother," she said, loud enough for other parents to hear. "His father just died. I'm all he has now." The receptionist called for the director. The director called me. I didn't answer because I was in a meeting. Then she called my emergency contact, my mother, who immediately said Mavis was not authorized and to call the police. By the time the police arrived, Mavis had pushed past the reception desk and was trying to get to the classroom area. She was screaming about her rights, about kidnapping, about how I was keeping her son from her. She told the officers that she had custody papers. When they asked to see them, she said they were in her car. They weren't. They didn't exist. Tyler heard the commotion from his classroom. His teacher later testified that he went pale and hid under a table, saying, "Don't let her take me. Please don't let her take me." The officers detained Mavis for 45 minutes while they sorted everything out. They called me, confirmed I had sole custody, confirmed Mavis had no legal right to Tyler. They explained to her that without custody papers or being on the authorized list, what she was attempting was attempted kidnapping. "She's keeping my son from me," Mavis screamed, according to witnesses. "Ma'am, is this your biological child?" the officer asked. "I'm his stepmother." "His mother? His biological mother?" "No, but then he's not your son, ma'am, and what you're doing could be considered attempted kidnapping." They didn't arrest her, but they did issue a formal warning and advised me to seek a restraining order. The daycare banned her from the premises and installed additional security cameras. They also implemented a new code word system for Tyler's pickups. I picked Tyler up, held him while he cried, and then drove straight to my lawyer's office. While Tyler played with toys in the waiting room, I sat in a conference room and heard the words that chilled me to my core. "She's building a case, the emergency custody filing, the scene at the daycare. She's trying to show that you're unstable, that you're keeping Tyler from his rightful home. We need to go on the offensive." The official paperwork arrived 2 days after the daycare incident. Petition for allocation of parental responsibilities and parenting time. In layman's terms, Mavis was suing for shared custody of Tyler. Her claims were audacious. According to her filing, she had been Tyler's primary maternal figure for the past year. Tyler had substantial emotional bonds with her. She had provided daily care during my ex's parenting time. Maintaining their relationship was in Tyler's best interest. I was deliberately alienating Tyler from his established family unit. Her lawyer, and she'd hired a good one, a 400 per hour family law specialist, argued that she stood in loco parentis. This is a legal term meaning she'd acted as a parent in the absence of one. They cited cases where step-parents had won custody rights. They submitted photos from the 14 months she'd known Tyler. They even included receipts for clothes and toys she'd bought him, as if purchasing items for a child made you their parent. My lawyer and I built our counter case meticulously. First, we established timeline. 14 months, that's all. 14 months out of Tyler's 8 years of life. We created a visual timeline showing Tyler's life from birth to present, with Mavis appearing as a tiny sliver at the very end. Second, we documented Tyler's actual living situation. He had never lived with Mavis, ever. Even during my ex's parenting time, Tyler spent a maximum of 4 nights per month at their house. We pulled school records showing my address as primary. medical records with me as primary contact. 8 years of tax returns claiming Tyler as my dependent. Third, and most powerfully, we had Tyler's voice. The court appointed a guardian ad litem, a lawyer specifically representing Tyler's interests. Tyler told her clearly and repeatedly that he did not want to live with Mavis. He was scared of her. She made him uncomfortable. He wanted to stay with his mom, his only mom. The guardian's report was damning for Mavis. Some choice quotes. The child exhibits signs of anxiety when discussing Ms. Mavis Patterson. The child has repeatedly expressed that he has one mother and does not recognize Ms. Patterson in a maternal role. The child became visibly distressed when asked about living with Ms. Patterson. Recommend maintaining current custody with biological mother, no visitation with stepmother. The hearing was set for a Tuesday morning in September. I'll never forget walking into that courtroom. Mavis was already there, dressed in a conservative black suit, tissues prominently displayed on her table. She'd lost weight since the funeral. She looked fragile, sympathetic. I'm sure that was intentional. Her lawyer went first. He painted a picture of a grieving widow who just wanted to maintain her relationship with the child she'd been raising. He actually used the word raising for 14 months of occasional weekends. He talked about the trauma of Tyler losing his father and how cruel it would be to also lose his other mother. Then he played their trump card, a video. It was Tyler at their house from about 3 months before my ex died. He was helping Mavis bake cookies, laughing as she dotted flour on his nose. At the end of the video, she hugged him and he said, "Thanks, Mavis. This was fun." This was fun. They tried to build an entire custody case on "this was fun." My lawyer destroyed them. She started with the law. In our state, step-parents have no automatic custody rights. None. Zero. The marriage to a biological parent doesn't transfer parental rights. She cited 17 cases where step-parents had been denied custody, even in situations where they'd been in the child's life far longer than Mavis had. Then she presented our evidence: the daycare incident report, the police report, the school play incident, the funeral behavior, the text messages from my ex admitting Mavis was pushing too hard to be accepted as Tyler's mother. We had 47 exhibits. 47 documented instances of Mavis overstepping boundaries or Tyler expressing discomfort. But the moment that ended it, the absolute kill shot, came when my lawyer asked one simple question during cross-examination. "Ms. Patterson, has Tyler ever, even once, called you mom voluntarily?" Mavis froze. Her lawyer objected, saying it was irrelevant. The judge overruled him. "Ms. Patterson, please answer the question." Children need time to adjust. That's not what I asked. Has Tyler ever called you mom without being prompted or asked to? No. Has he ever called you any maternal name? Mommy, mama, mother? No. What does he call you? Silence. Ms. Patterson. He calls me Mavis. Just Mavis? Yes. For 14 months, through your entire relationship with his father, even after your marriage, he's only ever called you Mavis? Yes. The judge's ruling came 2 weeks later. I can recite parts of it from memory. While the court sympathizes with Ms. Patterson's grief at the loss of her husband, grief does not create parental rights. The petitioner has failed to establish that she stands in loco parentis to the minor child. A step-parent relationship of 14 months with limited residential time and no evidence of primary caregiving does not meet the threshold for parental rights. Furthermore, the child's clearly expressed preferences and the concerning incidents documented by the respondent suggest that forced contact would be detrimental to the child's well-being. Petition denied with prejudice. With prejudice means she couldn't refile the same claim. We'd won. Completely. But Mavis wasn't done. 3 months passed. Tyler started therapy to deal with his father's death and the stress of the legal proceedings. He was doing better, sleeping through the night again. His grades improved. We established new routines, new traditions. I thought we were free. Then came lawsuit number 2. This time, Mavis wasn't seeking custody. She was seeking grandparent-style visitation rights. Her new lawyer, she'd fired the first one, argued that several states had provisions for psychological parents to maintain relationships with children, even without custody. They cited cases from New Jersey, Wisconsin, and California, where step-parents had been granted visitation. The petition was more emotional this time. Mavis claimed Tyler was suffering from the sudden termination of their relationship. She had been a significant emotional figure in his life. Denying visitation was cruel and unusual punishment for both of them. I was causing parental alienation by refusing contact. She also included letters. Dozens of letters she claimed to have written to Tyler that I'd returned unopened. Photos of birthday and Christmas gifts she tried to send that I'd refused. She was building a narrative that I was the villain, keeping a grieving widow from the child she loved. There was one problem with her story. Tyler didn't want to see her. The guardian ad litem interviewed Tyler again. This time he was even more explicit. He told her about nightmares where Mavis took him away and wouldn't let him see me. He described feeling scared and trapped when she hugged him. He said, and this was in the official report, "She pretends to be my mom, but she's not. She's nobody to me. Nobody to me." An 8-year-old said that. We also discovered something interesting during discovery. Mavis had been posting in online forums for alienated step-parents. She'd written detailed posts about her son being kept from her by a vindictive biological mother. Other posters had encouraged her to never give up and fight for your rights as his real mother. We submitted 63 pages of these posts as evidence. In them, she never once mentioned that she'd only known Tyler for 14 months. She presented herself as having raised him from infancy. The second hearing was in January. Different judge, Judge Harrison, an older black woman with 30 years on the bench and a reputation for having zero tolerance for what she called nonsense. Mavis's new lawyer tried a different approach. He brought in a child psychologist who testified about the importance of maintaining all emotional bonds after a parental death. He had Mavis testify about her own childhood, losing her mother young, and how she just wanted to give Tyler the love she'd missed. He even brought in character witnesses from Mavis's church, who testified what a wonderful, loving person she was. It might have been compelling if not for what happened next. My lawyer called Dr. Sarah Chen, Tyler's therapist, to testify. Dr. Chen was careful, professional, and absolutely devastating to Mavis's case. In your professional opinion, would resuming contact with Miss Patterson benefit Tyler? No, absolutely not. Why? Tyler exhibits symptoms of anxiety specifically related to Miss Patterson. He's expressed fear that she will try to take him from his mother. These fears are impacting his sleep, his school performance, and his overall emotional well-being. Has Tyler ever expressed missing Miss Patterson? No. He's expressed relief that he doesn't have to see her anymore. Relief? His exact words were, "I'm glad she can't pretend to be my mom anymore." Then came the cross-examination that sealed Mavis's fate. Her lawyer asked Dr. Chen, "Isn't it possible that the child is simply repeating what his mother has told him?" Dr. Chen's response was perfect. "In my professional experience, children Tyler's age are quite capable of expressing their own feelings. Tyler's fear responses, the physical symptoms, the nightmares, the anxiety, these aren't coached. They're genuine trauma responses. If anything, his mother has been helping him cope with the stress Miss Patterson has caused." Judge Harrison's ruling was even more decisive than the first. This court finds no basis for granting visitation rights to Ms. Patterson. The petitioner is not a grandparent, is not a biological parent, and has failed to establish that she served in a parental role sufficient to warrant court-ordered visitation. Furthermore, the evidence clearly shows that the minor child does not wish to have contact with the petitioner, and that forced visitation would be harmful to his emotional well-being. I want to be very clear, Ms. Patterson. Your husband's death was a tragedy. Your grief is real and valid, but your grief does not give you rights to someone else's child. This child has a mother. You are not that mother. You have never been that mother. And this court will not force a child to maintain a relationship that he clearly does not want, and that mental health professionals have testified would be harmful. Petition denied with prejudice. And Ms. Patterson, I'm warning you now, if you file another petition regarding this child, I will consider it harassment and will entertain a restraining order request from the respondent. Do I make myself clear? Mavis sobbed, loudly, dramatically. Her lawyer had to help her out of the courtroom. I felt nothing but relief. It was over. Finally over. Or so I thought. Let me break down the legal reality that Mavis either didn't understand or chose to ignore. This is important because there are thousands of Mavises out there, step-parents who think marriage to a biological parent automatically makes them a parent too. It doesn't. First, the parental rights hierarchy. In American law, biological parents have what's called fundamental rights to their children. This is constitutional-level protection. The Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that parents have a fundamental right to make decisions concerning the care, custody, and control of their children. This right is so strong that courts presume a fit biological parent acts in their child's best interests. Step-parents, they have no automatic rights. Zero. Marriage to a biological parent doesn't transfer any parental rights. It doesn't matter if you've been married 1 year or 10 years. Without formal adoption, you're legally a stranger to that child. Mavis thought marriage made her Tyler's mother. Legally, it made her nothing more than his father's wife. Second, the best interest standard, what it really means. Every state uses some version of the best interest of the child standard in custody decisions. Mavis thought this meant who loves the child most, or who can provide the best life. It doesn't. Courts consider specific factors: the child's physical, emotional, and developmental needs, the stability of each home environment, the existing relationship between child and each party, the child's preferences, depending on age, any history of abuse or neglect, which party has been the primary caregiver. Mavis scored 0 on almost every factor. She wasn't the primary caregiver. Tyler actively feared her. She destabilized his life. The only box she could check was no abuse, and even that was questionable given the daycare incident. Third, standing to sue, the threshold. Mavis couldn't cross. Standing is a legal concept, meaning you have the right to bring a lawsuit. For custody or visitation, you need to show you have a legally recognized relationship with the child. Who has standing? Biological parents, automatic. Adoptive parents, automatic. Legal guardians, court-appointed. Grandparents, in some states under specific circumstances. Someone who's served in loco parentis, rare and difficult to prove. Mavis tried to claim in loco parentis that she'd acted as Tyler's parent, but courts require proof. Living with the child full-time for a significant period, providing primary financial support, making major decisions about education, health, religion. Being recognized by the child as a parent. 14 months of occasional weekends. Not even close. Fourth, the documentation that saved us. Here's what I did right that you need to know if you're ever in this situation. Every text message, I saved them all. Even the ones that seemed innocent at the time. Incident reports, the school play disruption, the daycare attempted pickup. I got written reports for everything. Therapy records. Tyler's therapist kept detailed notes about his anxiety regarding Mavis. Witness statements, teachers, daycare workers, other parents who saw Mavis's behavior. Social media, screenshots of every post where she claimed to be Tyler's mother. Timeline documentation. I created a detailed timeline showing exactly how little time Mavis actually spent with Tyler. Financial records, proving I was Tyler's sole financial support, that Mavis had never contributed. Fifth, the precedents that protected us. Our lawyer cited 17 cases. Here are the three most important. Troxel v. Granville, 2000. The Supreme Court ruled that fit parents have a fundamental right to make decisions about their children's care, including who has access to them. Courts must give special weight to a fit parent's decision. Michael H. v. Gerald D. 1989 established that legal parenthood is determined by state law, and states can prefer certain relationships, like biological, over others, like step. In Remarriage of Meissner, 1994, Illinois case where a step-parent of 3 years was denied custody after biological parent's death because step-parent relationship alone doesn't create parental rights. These cases built a legal wall around Tyler and me that Mavis could never breach. The day Judge Harrison issued her final ruling, the one threatening Mavis with harassment charges if she filed again, I thought I'd feel pure relief. I did feel relief, but I also felt something else. Anger. Real, burning anger. This woman had put my son through hell. She'd made him afraid to go to school, worried she'd show up. She'd given him nightmares. She'd forced him to relive his father's death over and over through court proceedings. She tried to steal him from me, not metaphorically, literally tried to steal my child. And she was walking away with nothing more than a legal scolding. I sat in my car in the courthouse parking lot for 20 minutes, watching the entrance. I knew Mavis and her lawyer were still inside, probably discussing options, probably being told there were no options. I made a decision. I waited. When Mavis finally emerged, she looked destroyed. Red eyes, blotchy face, clutching tissues. Her lawyer was holding her elbow, guiding her down the steps. They stopped at the bottom for him to say something to her, probably final condolences for her legal death. That's when I approached. Mavis. She looked up, saw me, and her face transformed. The sadness morphed into something ugly, hatred maybe, or desperation. How dare you? I have 4 words for you, I said, calmly, clearly, loud enough for her lawyer and the people passing by to hear. You lost. I won. She stepped toward me. Her lawyer grabbed her arm. You're a monster, she hissed, keeping a child from love. From you, I corrected. I'm keeping him from you, because you're not his mother. You've never been his mother. And now, legally, officially, permanently, you never will be. He loved me. He was afraid of you. He hid under a table when you tried to kidnap him from daycare. He has nightmares about you. He specifically told the judge he never wants to see you again. Each word was deliberate. Each word was a dagger. I wanted them to hurt. I loved him like my own. But he wasn't yours. He was never yours. And all your lawsuits, all your tears, all your delusions couldn't make him yours. You're nothing to him. The judge said so. Tyler said so. And now I'm saying so. She was crying now. Ugly crying. Her lawyer was trying to pull her away, muttering about restraining orders and harassment. I delivered my final blow. Every time you think about my son, remember this moment. Remember that you tried to steal him and failed. Remember that the law, the judges, the therapists, and most importantly, Tyler himself, all chose me. Not you. Never you. I turned and walked back to my car. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The sound of her sobbing was enough. When I posted this story online asking if I was wrong for what I said to Mavis, I expected judgment. I expected to be called cruel, petty, vindictive. Instead, I got validation. 97% said I was justified. The comments were overwhelming. She traumatized your child and tried to kidnap him. You showed remarkable restraint. She needed to hear that. She needed to understand the consequences of her actions. This wasn't revenge. This was closure. You needed to say it, and she needed to hear it. As someone whose step-parent tried something similar, thank you for standing up for your son. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. She played the stupidest game possible, trying to steal someone's child. But the comment that meant the most came from another mother. You protected your child in court, and then you protected your own heart on those steps. Both were necessary, both were justified, both were the actions of a good mother, the only mother that little boy has or needs. The therapists and legal professionals who weighed in were particularly interesting. A family lawyer wrote, "I've seen too many biological parents try to be nice to step-parents like this, and it always backfires. Clear boundaries like what you established on those steps are essential." A child psychologist commented, "That confrontation wasn't for her, it was for you. You needed to reclaim your power after she tried to take it through the legal system. Your son is lucky to have a mother who fights for him." Even the 3% who said I went too far admitted they understood why I did it. It's been 6 months since that day on the courthouse steps. Tyler is thriving. His nightmares have stopped. His grades are back to straight A's. He's laughing again, really laughing. Not the forced sound he made during those horrible months. He asked me once, about 2 months after the final ruling, "Is Mavis going to try to take me again?" "No, baby, never." The judge told her she can never bother us again. "Good," he said, and went back to playing his video game. That was it. She'd taken up so much space in our lives, caused so much pain, and to him now she was just nothing. A bad memory getting smaller in the rearview mirror. We've moved since then. Not because we had to, but because we wanted to. Fresh start in a new neighborhood where no one knows our story. Tyler loves his new school. He's made friends. He talks about his dad sometimes, the good memories, without the shadow of Mavis hanging over them. I've kept all the legal documents in a safety deposit box. My lawyer says it's unlikely Mavis will try anything again. The judge's warning was clear. But if she does, we're ready. We have everything documented, everything preserved. Sometimes I wonder about her. Not with sympathy, but with a kind of clinical curiosity. Does she still think about Tyler? Does she still call him her son in her head? Has she moved on to try to attach herself to another child? I got my answer last month when a friend still living in our old neighborhood sent me a screenshot. Mavis had posted in a local Facebook group looking for volunteer opportunities with children who need a mother figure. The comments were brutal. Apparently, word about the lawsuits had spread. The post was deleted within hours. She'll never learn, but that's not my problem anymore. Here's what I want every parent listening to understand. The law is on your side, but only if you use it correctly. Document everything. Don't try to be nice when someone threatens your child. Don't minimize red flags because you want to avoid conflict. The conflict is coming whether you want it or not. Better to be prepared. And when someone shows you who they are, when they try to replace you as a parent, when they traumatize your child, when they use the legal system to attack your family, believe them. Fight them. And when you win, don't apologize for protecting your child. Mavis thought grief gave her rights. She thought wanting a child was enough to take mine. She was wrong. And that day on the courthouse steps, I made sure she knew exactly how wrong she was. Some people called it cruel. I call it justice. Mavis thought grief gave her rights. She thought marriage made her a mother. She thought the legal system would erase me because she cried the loudest. She was wrong on every count. 2 judges, 2 verdicts, 0 wins. That's not revenge. That's justice. And those 4 words I said to her, that wasn't cruel. That was closure. Because someone who tries to legally steal your child deserves to know exactly how badly they failed. The law protected my son. The system worked. And Mavis, she learned that wanting someone else's child doesn't make them yours, no matter how many lawsuits you file. Tyler doesn't ask about her anymore. She's not even a ghost in our life. She's nothing. An 8-year-old boy said it best. She's nobody to me. And legally, officially, permanently, that's all she'll ever be. If you believe parents deserve protection from people like Mavis, hit that like button. If you think justice was served, leave a comment with your verdict. Was I wrong for what I said on those courthouse steps? Or did Mavis deserve every word? And if you want more real courtroom drama where justice actually wins, subscribe to Casebound. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next case, because every parent deserves to know their rights, and every Mavis deserves to lose. Before you go, remember this. You are your child's first and last line of defense. Don't let anyone, not a step-parent, not a grieving widow, not anyone, convince you otherwise. Your child, your rights, your fight. Always. This is Casebound. Court is adjourned.